Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey. Yet another solo episode. But it's a good thing because sometimes you have a really surprisingly well done whiskey that you just don't want to share.
Mine.
So this is Homestead, and as always I'm going to try and get the bottle on video, but there we go. Yeah. So this is Homestead Barrel Proof Bourbon Whiskey. The Facebook page of the whiskey shows claims that it is straight bourbon. As you know, if you watch this show or are a connoisseur of whiskey, you'll know that to say bourbon, it has to be aged in virgin oak. That's pretty much it. It never stipulates for how long. You could age it in virgin oak for 1 second, and it's still aged in virgin oak. It's still called a bourbon. But if you say straight bourbon, that does there is a demand of time on there of at least 2 years in the cask. So they claim straight bourbon. So they claim that it is at least, on the Facebook page, they claim that it's straight bourbon and it's at least 2 years. So, but
Bourbon. Where's the bourbon?
I did come up with an explanation through some different research that the filtering of their whiskey, that they don't necessarily, they're not big fans of the filtering. And so that, of course, brings up the fatty acids, which kind of gives it a different viscosity than a lot of other whiskeys. And it's kind of something that I like. So my wife went out and bought this. I always tell her my favorite whiskey is one I haven't tried yet. And so she saw this one on clearance. She saw the bottle. Usually a fancy bottle means that it's going to be a weak whiskey. And they spend more time on packaging than they do actually making a good product. But with this, it was not the case. I thoroughly expected to be able to rip this one apart, and I can't. I like it. It is $50 a bottle currently at a lot of stores. Dark Helmet, do your thing.
Ludicrous speed.
So it is barrel proof, and you really feel that in the finish. But there has been, I've tasted a lot of cask strength stuff that they would have been better off getting it down to 80 proof. I've had a lot of there's one whiskey that I'm going to be reviewing soon that it's cask strength, but it could totally pass for an 80. This one, you definitely feel the 113 proof in the finish. It does affect the mouthfeel a little bit, but the initial taste here is really good. And it's much better than what I expected for a sourced whiskey. We like to make fun of sourced whiskeys on this show, but the reality of it is that there's so much more to a whiskey than just who distills it. That's just one of the steps. And the people at Homestead have figured out how to grab their sourced whiskey and how to treat it in a way, how to age it in a way, and how to bottle it in a way that that's a little better than some of your grain to glass people. So I think the grain to glass people will always get a little bit more respect, but a good product is a good product, and Homestead, you got a great product. They do need to get their website back up again, But I think Homestead is one of those distilleries that is probably going to have a hard time proving themselves because they are sourced. But if people give it a chance, it's a good whiskey, and
savor that bourbon.
I think you should try it out. So this is a high recommend. I think it is worth $50. You might be able to get a little cheaper in your area. Our state tends to tax the living crap out of things, but highly recommended. Homestead, barrel proof. Yeah, I like it. Good bourbon. So give it a try. Let us know in the comments what you think, and we'll be back next week with another episode of Nerds Drink Whiskey.